Hello, everybody. I'm so excited that you could join us today for another episode of How She Does It. My name is Melissa Glaze, and I'm the host of the show. And today we are with April Merritt. She is the mastermind behind Ilios Digital Marketing, where she helps entrepreneurs find the right tech to automate their workflow tasks, task management, and really just make that whole process a lot easier in and of itself. So I'm really excited to have her on the show today. And we're actually going to be chatting about offloading tasks management, not task management, but just automating the way that we do tasks, automating how we follow up with people, and also just automating our workflow and picking the right software that works for us. So I'm really excited to have her here today. We've actually done a live a few months ago chatting about a similar conversation. So if you are finding in your business that you are doing a lot of the same administrative type of tasks that are really keeping you from going outside of those things and focusing on the work that you're doing with your clients, then you are going to get a lot from today's episode. So I'm going to give it over to you and talk a little bit about why you founded Ilios Digital Organizing, and then we'll kind of dive in, some practical things that some of these business owners can walk away with and think through on how they can automate their business and their workflow, make lives simpler.
Cool. Well, I started Ilios Digital Organizing. I was finishing up my master's in library science, and I'm an organizer at heart and have always wanted to be, and situation sort of resolved itself that I was able to pursue that. And so I got started officially as an organizer, specializing in digital, and it sort of evolved into working with primarily entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, in really looking at how do you organize your information.
Right.
How do you look at the different things that you're doing and find better ways to do them? So you spend less time, like we said, on your tasks, less time looking for documents,
right,
and more time out with clients or with your family.
Right. We're doing the things that you like to do and have some more leisure time, so you're not bogged down.
Yeah.
So awesome. Very excited about that.
It's fun. It's a lot of times it's taking the time out of your day to stop and think about what you're doing. We get so busy doing and get so involved in our tasks and our work that we don't think we have the time to stop, take a day, and kind of look at what you're doing to find out how can I automate these things? How can I get down to one software versus 5?
Right. And it takes some time, just from my personal experience and trying to make things a little simpler. You actually have to, before you even get to this point, you have to sit down and really think through, what am I doing on a regular basis? And it starts with documenting kind of everything that you're doing. And then when you can notice the patterns of I send this email 12 times a day. What can I do to automate that and make it a little bit more efficient? Whether it's a canned response, but even that takes time. You're still crafting the email, but it makes it a little bit easier.
And a lot of that it's that work on the front end. Because it's like you said, when I talk to people about automation, I talk to people about workflow, that's kind of the first thing we do. We say, okay, so what is your big task? Like for me, okay, so I get a new client, what do? I put them into this software, I put them into that software, I put them into that software, I send this email, I put a note on my calendar, and then I do this. And then we look at all those things and we say, okay, so you do this here, this here, this here, and you're recreating that email every time? Like you said, let's get a canned response. You can edit it.
For sure.
But and then a lot of times automation is looking at the software and seeing what software is talking to each other.
Right. What naturally integrate together, what doesn't. So that helps you kind of think through what kind of software you're going to use depending on what you need for your business.
And one of the things that I know is a big deal for entrepreneurs, and I'm sure everybody, is follow-up. And staying in touch with your clients and keeping track of who you've talked to. And that's a lot of times when I talk to people, that's one of the things that is easy to let fall through the cracks. I know for me, until I got into a CRM, client relationship management software, until I got into a CRM, until I got some of that automation. There are lots of people who I've never followed up
They
with.
can just kind of let slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do that if you're getting 5-6 leads a week and they're coming through, and maybe you're really good at getting that initial response out there, but what if they don't reply to your email? Or what if they do and you're playing back and forth trying to get a calendar? Like that's one of the biggest things.
Yes, calendars.
If you don't use any sort of scheduling, and it's just wasting time going back and forth trying to figure out what works for people. I feel like most people have acclimated and like kind of taken that step and have at least looked into a calendaring system. Yeah, I've seen it more frequently, but if that's something that people haven't done yet, I would suggest looking into that.
That's definitely, and that's one of the things, you talked about software. And a lot of times software really is where the automation is. And when we think about that follow-up, when we think about scheduling, there's a couple different types of automation. There's like the native stuff, like you said, the stuff that is already part of that software. MailChimp is a really good example. They have, their automated follow-up, their drip systems. Those email responders where you send an email and you get that auto response that says, hey, I'll follow up with you in a month and a half. Business day.
Yeah.
And then you've got sometimes software that already has pre-established connections. I use Insightly as my CRM, and it already has a connection with MailChimp. So rather than go to Insightly, find my person, and then go to MailChimp and see how often they've opened their emails for me, I just have to go to Insightly.
Because those two are already talking to each other.
Exactly. And my calendaring software does the same thing. It already talks to Google.
Awesome.
Which is great, but then you have the software that doesn't talk to people. And
so how do you get that?
Well, that's where you get that third-party software, which Zapier is probably the biggest one. There is another one out there called If This Then That.
Yes.
If This Then That really is geared towards the consumer.
Okay.
It's not so much the businessman.
Interesting. So like if I bookmark this page, I want it to automatically download to Pocket or whatever that looks like.
Exactly.
So yeah, I've definitely heard of those. I think Zapier is probably the more robust version and great for businesses. Para uses that all the time, which is fantastic.
What do you use it for?
Everything. I mean, we really use it for a lot of different things,
And that's one of the nice things, when we talk about software, is finding software that's going to work well with others.
Right.
Zapier has, I can't give you a number, it's 40 million programs that they work with.
Right. And that's important to know, because if you're deciding on a software and you're picking one that doesn't really integrate easily with others, then you're really doing yourself a disservice at the very beginning because you're creating more work for you. Okay, so maybe there is a workaround for some things, but you really have to be able to think through how to create this sequential steps.
Yes, and that's again, we come back to that planning. I have a client who is on a calendar app, but also uses a paper calendar.
Okay.
Where's the workaround to get her stuff transferred
from the
from one
paper
to another? Exactly. And so, maybe it's time to switch her to a digital calendar so she can manage that a little bit better.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people who prefer a paper calendar to a digital calendar. I'm kind of like a hybrid of the two. Like I like to first jot things down on a paper calendar, and then as they're solidified, then I'll get them plugged into. But it creates more work for me. But for some reason, I actually resonate just more with that.
Well, and there lies the question: does it work?
Right. Is it actually working?
Is it actually working? Yes. It's a little bit more time for you, but is there someplace else where you can be saving time? We talk about. Do you have a question?
No, I'm just going to see who's watching and if we have any questions too. So,
well, and we talk about tasks and task management and staying on top of what you do, that's one of the things. I use Evernote for my task management, and I have Zapier set up to anytime a new appointment comes on my calendar, it automatically sends a notice into my to-do list.
Oh.
So now automatically that appointment is in this week's list.
That's awesome.
Which is nice because chances are I would forget it and not get it done.
So that brings me to the question. I know you're going to talk a little bit about like how do you use automation in, for example, how you follow up with people. Can you give us an example of what that looks like for you?
Okay. For me, so automation and following up, there's a couple different things, and like I mentioned, my CRM that I use is Insightly, and they have what they call activity sets. So you, again, work on the front end, you put down the list of follow-up with 2 days after, follow-up 15 days, follow-up 30 days, set it, and then what happens is that automatically will email me to say, by the way,
it's time for you to
follow up.
So.
But the other nice thing is with that follow-up is my calendar app via Zapier. Anytime the client makes an appointment, it will send a notification to their account in my CRM. So when I go to follow up, I can see right away, okay, they haven't scheduled recently.
So you're using Insightly as your customer relationship management software. You're using Zapier to talk between Insightly and your calendar or your to-do list?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Okay.
What I do is, a lot of times when I'm working with clients, I work in Evernote a lot. And so I'll be in Evernote and I'll take notes about clients when we're meeting. Maybe we're having a session, I'm jotting things down. And then I go back to the office, go home, back to the office, and I can take that note I just wrote in Evernote and shoot it on over to the CRM.
Is it automatically in your CRM?
I just have to push a button.
Okay.
And it goes over there. I don't have to retype it.
Gotcha.
And I don't have to copy and paste it. No.
You just push a button that makes it like export to your CRM.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And you had mentioned email canned responses. When a client is first contacting me, you know how it's the, hey, tell me more about your services. What I'll do is I go into Gmail, Outlook, and I just pull up the canned response, go in, switch 3 or 4 things, and send it off.
Email, and then send it off. Yeah, I use canned responses pretty regularly too.
Yeah.
When you're saying the same thing, like reminders about an appointment, or making sure that people are set up. For example, before we go live, here are all reminder tomorrow at 1 p.m. We're going live. I need you here at this time, and all those different things for both you and myself. It makes everything a lot smoother.
Well, and we talked a lot. I mentioned MailChimp before, which I use. One of the other automations I had forgotten about that is part of, like we said, the native software that MailChimp does itself is when I add somebody to my mailing list, because I'm putting them in myself, an hour later it will automatically send them an email that says, so by the way, did you actually want to get April's email? And they have the choice then to say yes or no.
So they can actually opt in.
Yes.
Which is really important. That's an entirely
a whole other thing.
A whole other conversation, but it's definitely good to have people double opt in so that you're not just, because someone reached out doesn't necessarily mean that they want to be on your email list. So to give them that option to say, yeah, I actually do want to receive notifications from you. That's great.
That everything can come back to automation. That's another automation that you can do just within your emails is setting up the filters. And so, for example, a lot of the newsletters I get from people, I've set up filters in Gmail or Outlook or whatever that says, okay, when the Hera Hub newsletter comes through, just skip the inbox, throw it in the newsletters folder, and then I'll go read it when I have time.
And then you set a time so that when you want to focus on catching up what's in your inbox, you go and look. I do the same thing based on like the type of subscription that I have. I've got a whole business resources section. So anytime one of the people that I follow talks about copywriting, it skips my inbox, it goes, labels it for that, and then when I feel like I need some resources for copywriting, I just go to my email and look specifically for that. It definitely takes the stress out of feeling like you have 2,700 emails to reply to when really most of them are
just informational.
Just informational that it's important and you do want it, but you don't necessarily want to see it every time you log in.
Every time you log in. And then there's the 2 or 3 seconds per newsletter or email that you have to say, okay, this is going here, move it, this is going here, move it. And it happens automatically. So there's, 5 minutes.
What it sounds like when you are going to start this conversation about automation, you really do have to take a step back and really see what is it that I want to automate, what am I already doing, and it takes time to get this stuff in place, but once you've taken the work and figured it out how you want it to flow, then it's just a matter of creating a system that works and
making it go,
pushing it in motion.
And that's a lot of times when I talk to people, we talk about setting up automation, especially like with Zapier and stuff. Take 1 or 2 things and automate them, and once you kind of get a feel for it and things are working, okay, now we've taken that extra work out, what else is clogging up the system?
Exactly.
We always want to look at double entry. When are you putting the same information in more than one software? And is there some way to get those connected so
when you put it in one, it'll automatically get put into the others.
Automatically goes. And sure, maybe there's a little bit of tweaking you have to do on the other end once it's entered. But anytime you can get software to talk to each other without you is going to be a huge benefit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of, like we said, figuring out what you do, how you do it, and I talk to people, what do you not want to be doing anymore? And can we find a way?
What's bogging you down? And figuring out, if I could give an example, letting people know when they have mail here.
Yes.
Or letting people know, before, let's say, someone cancels their membership with Hera Hub, and, I need a way to remind them that, hey, this is happening and these are all the things that you need to make sure that you do if you're using a mailing address. Yeah. So I remember it was probably a couple months ago, and I was like, I'm tired of having to email these people individually every time it comes up. So what we did is we figured out, okay, 7 days prior to their membership being canceled, this automated email goes out, reminds them that this is happening, and that if they have mail handling, this, and this need to happen. I never have to send another email again, reminding them, and that takes a lot of energy that I don't have to worry about wasting doing something so neat, small and minuscule.
Exactly. Well, and it's kind of helpful. You've got that set up, and maybe there are links in there. You say, don't forget, you have to remove this, you have to do that.
There's the link to that, and the link to that, and just all of the different.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you can think through all of the information beforehand that you want to communicate, that definitely will set you up for success before you even approach this.
Exactly. And so often we look at what you're doing that's bogging you down, yes, but also what do you want to do? I have a client that does social media marketing, and they have all their information in one software, and that's great, but they would love to get the due dates into a calendar because they want to look at it like a calendar, not a software. Okay, it took some figuring out, but now we've been able to get some automation, so they put the date in their primary software, and it shoots right over to Google and puts it into their Google Calendar. Actually, they're in Asana right now.
So they're automating from Asana to...
They're automating from Airtable to Asana.
Okay.
Which there's, if I pull up Zapier and I just kind of glance at it, I think they have pretty much everything now in terms of types of programs and things that you've never even heard of.
They have a lot. They integrate with a lot of software. If you guys are wondering, if you don't know what Zapier is, it's Zapier, and if you're ever wanting to just kind of browse and see, they have some pre-built
Zaps.
Yeah, that's what they call them, Zaps, or actions that they want you to take from different software to different software, so you can get an idea of the possibilities even that you might not have even heard of before.
Yeah, and that's, when I talk to people a lot of times about CRMs, is a huge one. Well, what one do I want? Well, what one should be good for me? I always say, let's go over to Zapier and see,
is there an integration?
Is it in there? Who does it integrate with? There are some softwares, 17 Hats is a common one, that doesn't integrate with anybody. But it has almost all of its business in-house. So it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
So, but that's, something to consider. Google, everybody knows Google. Google integrates with pretty much everything.
Right. It's picking beforehand, like how do I want my business to grow? Not necessarily just thinking the phase that you are now.
Yes.
Is there room for growth with this? I know Insightly is really great as far as how you can scale.
Yep.
I've been doing a little bit of background research on Insightly and
it's a lot of times when you're finding software that you want, when you're looking for the right fit for your business, you do have to look a little bit into scalability, but sometimes it's enough to just get started.
Right. Don't overthink it.
Don't
overthink it. And me coming out for sure.
I'm right there with you. Don't overthink it. But one of the things they talk about, and I come back to Zapier a lot because I really like it, but they have a ton of great guidebooks and help books, 25 best CRMs, and ultimate guide to G Suite.
Yeah.
And it gives you things to think about. So yes, obviously the ones they talk about are going to work with them. But for example, it really helped me to figure out the different types of CRMs. So now I kind of know what I'm looking for, and then I can narrow it down a few more.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily need all of the features and all of the things. Yeah. It's going to be different for the kind of work that you're doing.
Exactly.
So that's really awesome.
And it just really depends.
Yeah.
Which everybody's different on that.
Seriously. Well, I know this is definitely a very robust conversation to have on the live show, but I really wanted to make sure that we covered this because I hear it all the time. Like, I just wish there was two of me. I wish that I could do all of these things, and this is a way to kind of mimic your behavior that you're already doing in your business, just making it happen for you.
Exactly.
So I know you are here in Mission Valley for Guru Hours. So tell everybody how they can find you and get in touch with you.
Well, I am in Mission Valley on Guru Hours every Thursday from 2 to 4. So I'm always here. And I do go up and visit the other Hair Hub locations. I have what I call pop-up sessions, technology sessions. Up in Carlsbad the first Wednesday of the month, Serrano Valley second Tuesday, Mission Valley third Tuesday, and starting in August, I'll be in Serrano Valley the fourth Tuesday as well. It kind of gives me an opportunity to get out and see other people because I know a lot of what I do is not necessarily offered by a lot of other people.
Yeah, and it's very hands-on and personalized.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
Because, like you had said, the first step is thinking about what you do, what you use, and sometimes it takes a third party to sort of kind of come in and help you take a step back.
Right.
And look at that. So I always love talking to people about this stuff.
Yeah, and Guru Hours are completely free.
Yes, they
It's
are.
open to the public. So you said Thursdays from 12 to 2.
2 to 4.
2 to 4 in Mission Valley. Come chat with her if you're confused and you still need a little bit more clarity as to what we're even talking about when it comes to workflow automation and you don't know how to approach it. She's the person to talk to about this.
But yeah, in all areas, I mean, workflow, CRM, email, sometimes social media automation too.
Yeah,
a little bit. There might be better people.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed having you on the show today, and if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them if you're watching the replay later on. We would be happy to get to your questions that you have, give you some more clarity as you need them. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks so much.